living longer, living healthier, living better than ever before. Welcome to Mountain Pacific's Healthy Living for Life, a weekly series that gives you the information, education, and expert insight you need to become an active participant in today's ever-changing healthcare climate. Here now is today's program host.
Studies have shown that since 2019, the number of American adults age 55 and older who have a will has fallen from 60% to 44%. However, the percentage of young adults ages 18 to 34 with a will has gone up by 63% since 2020. Welcome to Healthy Living for Life, a show dedicated to helping you do just that. I'm your host, Beth Brown. Today, we are talking about the importance of estate planning. Stay with us. Welcome back to Healthy Living for Life. Joining us today is Annie Goodwin, who is a registered nurse and an attorney here in Helena, and she is with Goodwin Law Offices. And thank you so much for being here with us today, Annie.
My pleasure, Beth.
So let's jump right in and first discuss some of the basics of estate planning. So can you share a little bit about what is estate planning and what do we need to know about it?
Well, estate planning encompasses one's decision as to what should happen to their property and their financial assets after they pass away.
Okay, so that's a pretty simple explanation, but I'm sure it's not a simple process. So it's a pretty broad topic, I would imagine, and might be even difficult to think about because a lot of people don't want to think about when they pass away and needing to give away some of their property. So what do you think is the reason that people should have that plan in place? Why is it important?
Well, it's important not only for yourself, but more importantly for your family. At the time that someone passes away, there's a lot of emotion and grief that the family is experiencing. And if there is an estate plan and a last will and testament or a trust, it provides the direction to the family as to what the decedent's intent was, and it helps the family move on with the process.
Okay, yeah, that's really important because that is a tough time. So who should plan for what's going to happen with their estate? Is that something everyone should do, or are there better candidates than others?
You know, I would recommend everyone, every adult, consider an estate plan. You know, and oftentimes, if someone is younger and younger parents may not think that an estate plan is necessary, but quite to the contrary. What is your most important asset that you have? It's your children. And in an estate plan, there can be provisions that provide for the guardianship of your children as to who will make the decisions regarding the raising of your children, together with a conservatorship and a trustee that will also govern the financial aspect of raising your children, in assuring that their health, maintenance, care, and education is provided for. And then it moves up the spectrum as we get older and as we continue in our professions and our work life, we accumulate more wealth, we accumulate more property and financial assets. And the older adults should be considering estate planning as well.
So is there a time that you would recommend, either because of a certain age or maybe a certain family or financial milestone, when people should start thinking about estate planning?
I believe that it should be done as a young adult and continue to review your estate plans as your life progresses and as your life changes and there is more of an accumulation of property and financial assets.
So what happens if someone passes away and they do not have any estate planning in place?
Montana statute provides for an intestate proceeding. And that certainly means that a person did not have a will that was executed. And the law is very clear. It provides that a petition is filed in the district court of the county in which the decedent resided. And there is a statute that identifies the priority of the heirs of the decedent, and the distribution of the estate occurs according to the legal statute that is supervised by the district court.
Okay, so it's kind of taken out of people's hands a little bit there.
It sure is.
Yeah. So what are some of the main elements of estate planning?
Well, it really involves two parts.
Okay.
It governs when a person is alive. There are power of attorney documents that will provide for health care decisions in the event that one is not able to make decisions regarding their health care should they become incapacitated or incompetent. Mm-hmm. And they are able to name an agent to act on their behalf. The other important document is a durable power of attorney for financial designation. And an individual is able to name an agent to act on their behalf in the event they become incapacitated or incompetent. And that agent is able to deal in financial transactions, receive your revenue, receive any of the investments to assure that it is being applied for your benefit. In both circumstances, the agent has a fiduciary obligation under Montana law to utilize those funds and to make those decisions that's to the benefit of the person that they are appointed under. Now, the other aspect of estate planning is, of course, after one passes away. And that would involve the development of a last will and testament, if it's an appropriate document, or one may consider a trust, if it be a revocable trust or an irrevocable trust, or a combination of different trust documents in addition to a last will and testament. And finally, I encourage my clients in their estate plan to review advance directives, whether it be a living will or some other sort of a document, to assure that their end-of-life decisions are made.
Okay, great. We're running up against a break here, Annie, so we're going to pause here for just a quick second. But Annie is going to stick around and talk with us more about estate planning after these messages. So stay with us. We're going to keep talking about this in just a couple minutes. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We're still talking with Annie Goodwin, who is a registered nurse and an attorney, and we're talking about estate planning, and now we're going to focus on some of the myths and misconceptions that are out there when it comes to estate planning. So thanks for sticking around with us here, Annie.
You're welcome.
So let's start. I think a lot of people think about, estate planning, that sounds like something wealthy people do. Is it just for the wealthy? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Estate planning should be done for every adult. And it really should start at the point that you're a young adult and starting to accumulate property and assets, and then moving along until you've progressed into your senior citizen years. Estate planning needs to be reviewed at every juncture in your life to assure it's current and it truly is what your intentions are.
Okay, and I think a lot of people too think, oh, I'm young, I have time to think about that. Can you talk a little bit about why it's important to think about estate planning when you are a young adult?
Well, I had a client that came into my office, and his daughter had passed away, and she was in her mid-20s. Oh. And she was engaged and living with her fiancé in a home. And they have a deed to the home. And she also owned a vehicle. Well, the questions become difficult as to what are the intentions of a person who has passed away when they do own property, and who should it be distributed to. In this case, should it be distributed to her fiancé or to the family members? And the manner in which to transfer the title to the vehicle was also discussed. So for purposes of estate planning, one should really do it for their family to ease that burden.
Because you never know, do you?
That's correct.
And another misconception is probably that, well, I'm married and I'm pretty sure I'm going to go first. My spouse will just get everything. Can you talk to that a little bit?
That definitely is a misconception. Married couples need to have an estate plan. I've had a number of clients who have provided their deeds to me, to their real property and to their home, and I make it a practice of reviewing the deeds, and I am surprised at the number of married couples who do not have their deeds with both of their names listed on the title to the property. And in some instances, it may be appropriate for estate planning, but it would come as a surprise to the couple. Couples also, relationships end in dissolution. And if there is a dissolution and the estate plan has not been updated, the surviving spouse could easily be the beneficiary of one's estate. So there are a number of reasons that spouses and couples should seek estate planning.
Okay, and let's talk about folks who have wills. They probably think too, well, my family will respect whatever I have in my will. Can you kind of talk about what happens though in the heat of all of that and the sadness? How can that be a misconception and things go a little bit wrong there?
Well, there was another client that had passed away, and there was a controversy in the family as to whether the decedent should be buried or cremated. And fortunately, in the last will and testament, a provision existed in which this individual specifically requested cremation and to have his remains interned at a cemetery. That easily settled that controversy among family members.
Okay, perfect. How is estate planning different from having life insurance or a 401k policy and some of the other planning things that we put into place as we get older?
Well, life insurance and 401k planning and retirement planning are all part of one's estate plan.
Okay.
Typically, the life insurance beneficiaries or the IRA or retirement beneficiaries may not need to engage in a probate process during a proceeding in which a will is being authenticated and determined in court. Those beneficiaries receive the assets for the most part directly if they are named in the life insurance policy as well as in the IRA.
Okay. You talked earlier about having an agent named. What happens if that agent or your power of attorney passes away before you do? Can you walk us through what that process would look like?
Yes. It is important in the estate plan to name an alternate agent in the durable health care power of attorney or in the power of attorney for finances. Similarly, I recommend to my clients that an alternate personal representative be named in their last will and testament.
Okay, perfect. A lot of folks who are watching our show probably live in rural areas. Can you talk about land and how that gets taken care of or might be pieced out, or how do you handle land during estate planning?
Well, ranches and farming is a very important legacy to our Montana families.
Yeah.
And land becomes important to a family, and especially in estate planning, whether it be distributed in a conveyance after one's death, in a trust, or in a last will and testament, or a combination of those documents. An estate planning attorney should be reviewing the water rights through the Department of Natural Resources that is attached to the land, and also assuring that the realty transfer certificate that is prepared together with the deed of conveyance upon one's passing is appropriately filed with the Montana Department of Revenue, so that the new owners and the beneficiaries are identified with the property.
Okay, that's great information, Annie. It's time to take another break, so we need to pause here. But when we come back, we're going to talk about how to get started and how to find an attorney so that you can do estate planning if you haven't already. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're still talking with Annie Goodwin about estate planning, and now we're going to focus on how to get started. And so, Annie, my first question is, does a person need a lawyer to do estate planning, or is it something they can do on their own?
Well, it depends upon the size of the estate. Certainly, a minimal estate, a basic estate, a person could try to prepare their own will. But it's important to keep in mind that there are legal requirements that need to be followed, and if a will is not legally drafted, it could be declared invalid or not authenticated by the court.
So what should someone look for in an attorney? Do you have some advice on questions they should ask or the type of attorney they should be trying to find?
Well, most of my clients are referrals that have come from other clients or from the community.
Sure.
So someone with estate planning experience is a very good start. I also think the attorney should be a good listener so that the attorney can listen to what is the client's needs, what is the background of the family, what is important to the client in terms of passing on their legacy to the beneficiaries or to causes that are important to him or her.
Okay, and so that's more, the knowledge is there, but also sort of a good fit is also what you're speaking to, I think. Can you speak to that a little bit, of finding an attorney that's a good fit for what your needs are?
Well, an attorney that understands the background of their client, that is clearly reviewed, you know, the property, the financial assets, that has done a thorough discussion regarding investments and retirement benefits, and has completed an asset review with their client to assure that they have a proper estate plan in place.
Okay, perfect. Let's talk about cost a little bit. How does an attorney charge for estate planning? And should folks look out for any red flags where maybe they're getting charged for things that they shouldn't be?
It depends upon the estate size. It depends upon the type of will in the estate. Basically, with a non-complex estate, a preparation of a will may be anywhere from $250 to $350. But as the estate grows in complexity and size, then that price and the fee will also increase.
Okay. Are there other resources than an attorney where someone might be able to start to look into a little bit more about estate planning?
There are a number of resources, and in this day and age with the web and all the articles that exist, we are truly fortunate to be able to have that information available. But one of the areas I would encourage your listeners to look to is the website offered by Montana State University, the Extension Services website.
Okay.
They provide excellent articles and information on estate planning. I would also encourage our listeners to look to the Department of Public Health and Human Services and the Office on Aging that has a website that identifies the resources for one to consider in their estate plan.
Okay.
And certainly meeting with professionals, meeting with an estate attorney, meeting with a tax advisor, your certified public accountant, they all can serve as a team to provide you with the resources that you need to develop your estate plan.
Perfect. Let's talk about a term that people might hear when they're doing estate planning, probate. Can you define that for us?
Yes. Probate involves it is a legal proceeding defined by statute in which the last will and testament of a decedent has been filed in the district court of where the decedent resides, the county in which the decedent resided. And the court will determine the validity of the will. At that point in time, a petition is prepared to appoint a personal representative, and that is the person that will oversee the estate and the distribution of the estate. Montana law also provides for a notice to creditors, in which the decedent's creditors are notified via a newspaper publication that the estate is really looking for any debts, expenses that need to be paid, and identified to the court and the personal representative. And once the creditors have been paid, then there is a proposed petition for a proposed distribution of the estate to the heirs and the beneficiaries of the decedent. And the court will review the documentation. The court will review and assure that Montana law has been met and the full transparency has been provided to the beneficiary and the heirs before the order is issued for the property to be distributed to the estate beneficiaries.
Okay, wow, a lot involved, it sounds like, for sure. So we're almost out of time, Annie. You've given us so much great information. Any final words of advice you'd like to leave us with today?
If you do estate planning, do it not only for yourself, but for your family. Your family will benefit, and they will rest assured that your legacy will transfer to your family's generation.
Perfect. Thank you so very much. We appreciate your time and your expertise today.
You are welcome. Thank you, Beth.
Thanks. And thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you'll come back and see us again next week. Until then, stay fit, stay well, and stay healthy for life with Healthy Living for Life. Have a great week, everybody.
Healthy Living for Life is brought to you by Mountain Pacific Quality Health in partnership with AARP Montana. We'd love to hear from you. If you have suggestions for future programs, visit our website at mpqhf.org or call us at 406-443-4020. You can also catch us on YouTube by visiting our website and clicking on the Healthy Living for Life logo. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions.